Hello!
And good day, everyone, especially to Dr. Sheila May Niones. Here with you today is Mariam Mercado together with my partner,
Loedgen Vitor.
Pupils have taught in schools in different ways. And as teachers, we used various teaching strategies to address the different learning styles and to cater the different learning needs of our diverse learners. And one of these teaching strategies is team teaching.
At the end of the session, you will be able to know the origin of team teaching, its meaning and definition,
identify the objectives of team teaching and its characteristics,
determine the guiding principles and the two main types of team teaching,
enumerate team teaching models,
understand the procedure or the steps in team teaching,
explain its advantages and disadvantages,
and follow the tips to make team teaching effective. Team teaching is also known as collaborative teaching or co-teaching method. The definition of team teaching defined by different people in different ways.
Goats 2000 defined it as a group of two or more teachers working together to plan, conduct, and evaluate the learning activities for the same group of learners.
Keane and Cantor, 1984, defined team teaching as simply teamwork between two qualified instructors who together make presentations to an audience.
As per Spanish, team teaching is a type of instructional organization involving teaching personnel and the students assigned to them, in which two or more teachers give responsibility looking together for all or a significant part of the instruction for some group of students.
By educationists, in this teaching strategy, two or more than two teachers involved to make plan of any given subject or subjects cooperatively, carry it out, and always evaluate its effect on the students periodically.
And according to David Marwick, it is a form of organization in which individual teachers decide to pool resources, interest, and expertise to devise and implement a scheme of work suitable to the needs of their pupils and the facilities of their school.
These are the objectives of team teaching. To make the classroom teaching effective according to the interests, the capacities of the students, to increase flexibility in the grouping of the students, and to increase the quality of instruction.
And what are the characteristics of team teaching? First, the team teaching method is flexible. In team teaching, teachers need to decide their activities by themselves. The entire responsibility does not fall on one teacher only, but it is shared by others too. Hence, this method is based on collective responsibility. In team teaching, the whole responsibility is on all the teachers. The requirements of the pupils, schools, and other things are also considered. Teaching and evaluation both done on cooperative basis.
And we also have few other characteristics of team teaching. These are economic factors, enthusiasm structured, staff development, and experience-centered work.
And here are the guiding principles of team teaching. First, allocation of duties to teachers based on their interests, qualifications, and personality characteristics.
Second, having varying size of the group according to the purpose of team teaching.
Third, allotment of time according to the importance of the subject.
Fourth, providing appropriate learning environment by making arrangement of laboratory, good library, workshop, and etc.
Fifth, providing appropriate learning behavior to each learner within the groups.
Sixth, exercising constructive supervision on the activities of the group.
7. Keeping the level of team teaching appropriate to the level of the learner.
There are mainly two types of team teaching methods. They are the hierarchic team teaching. This type of team teaching method, just similar to a pyramid, where different levels of teachers organized from top to bottom. The team leader placed at the top. Mid-level teachers just below the team leader, and normal teachers at the bottom.
Second, we have the synergetic team teaching. In this type of teaching method, there is no differentiation between teachers. Through the cooperation of two or more teachers working together, synergetic team teaching groups can be formed.
Here are the basic models of team teaching and how each benefits the student. 1. One teaches, one assists. Or one teaches, one observes. One teacher teaches a full group lesson while the other teacher rooms and helps individual student. This is sometimes called one teach, one support because the second teacher often provides support for learning or behavior management. How it helps students. Students know there is a teacher available to answer their questions or give help in the moment. Also, an observing teacher may collect information about how a student responds to different teaching approaches or about attention or behavior. It also allows teacher to discreetly address issues as they come.
Number 2, we have the station teaching. The class is divided into 3 or more groups, and the classroom has multiple learning centers. As the students rotate through the stations, the teachers teach the same material in different ways to each group. For example, fractions may be taught with a fraction line at one and with cubes at another. If there are more stations than teachers, some stations may be student-led and at least one will focus on independent work or practice opportunities. How it helps the students? Teachers divide the students into groups using flexible grouping. As students or teachers move from one station to the other, the teacher can address each group's specific learning needs.
Number 3 is the parallel teaching. The team splits the class into 2 groups and each teacher teaches the same information at the same time. Parallel teaching works well to differentiate instruction when the content being taught is particularly challenging. Students can benefit from learning difficult material in a smaller group. Parallel teaching can be a comfortable way to start co-teaching. You and your co-teacher plan together to make sure you're covering the same material. And since you're teaching the half of the class, you're less likely to feel closely observed by your colleague. How it helps the students? Both groups learn the same thing, but the teachers can use different ways to teach it depending on the needs of the students in their group.
Number 4 is alternative teaching. So, one teacher instructs most of the class and the other teacher teaches an alternate or modified version of the lesson to a smaller group of students. Alternative teaching is also sometimes described as big group, small group teaching. Small groups are often put together based on students' learning needs. You and your co-teacher will need to find time to look over student data. This will help you figure out which students need support, filling in gaps in background knowledge, which students need remediation, or which students could benefit from the accelerated learning because they already know the content or have mastered the skills of the large group lesson. How it helps the students. The other teacher can work with a small group on a different lesson or give more support to struggling learners.
Number 5 is team teaching. In team teaching, both teachers are in the room at the same time but takes turns teaching the whole class. Team teaching is sometimes called tag teaching. You and your co-teacher are a bit like co-presenters at a conference. You do not necessarily plan who takes which part of the lesson. And when one of you makes a point, the other can jump in and elaborate if needed. How it helps the students. Students see the teachers as equal with each other. It also gives the students the chance to ask questions and get assistance during the lesson. This can be especially helpful for students who struggle with working memory.
For team teaching, a sequential procedure is followed. The following steps are involved in the process of team teaching: the planning, organizing, and evaluating. First, in planning. In this step, plan for team teaching is prepared. To determine the objective of team teaching, the orientation of the faculty, since it is a collaborative activity, it is the responsibility of the organizers to provide orientations to the teacher involved about the concept of team teaching, the rationale of implementing it, responsibilities of each team member, and teachers should also be told about the roles, record making, communication strategies, and scheduling teamwork.
Second is organizing. The organization of team teaching is decided by considering the needs of the learners. These are the activities to be performed under this step. 1. Teachers judge the entering behavior of students for making decisions about the level of the instruction. 2. After determination of entry behavior of students, communicated technique is selected. 3. The teacher then delivers the led lecture and fellow teachers of team listen to him and note points where students face difficulties, which topic had more detailing, and which parts of the lecture were not presented properly. 4. After this, other teachers also deliver the lecture and clarify the different elements by supplementing the lead lecture. 5. The activities of students are reinforced. 6. During these lectures, some tasks are assigned to the students for better compliance in the classroom.
Third is evaluating. This is a very significant step in the entire team teaching process. In this step, evaluation is done in the context of the acquisition of the objectives on the basis of the performance of the students. In this step also, oral, written questions and experimental methods are followed for evaluation. Every question evaluates an objective. The drawbacks and difficulties of the students are diagnosed and proper remedies are proposed. Results of evaluation act as the reinforcement in pupils and teachers.
These are the advantages of team teaching. 1. Low cost. One can get an efficient form of learning at a very low cost. As such, no new resources is required to start team teaching. 2. Support for teachers. When teachers collaborate, they could play on their strengths and weaknesses, and together, as a team, can make a successful way to teach and learn. 3. Closer integration of staff. With team teaching, teacher bound to bond, as frequent discussions and planning make them develop a good relationship. 4. Variety of ideas. When teachers come together with their teaching style, ideas and expertise come together. If planned perfectly, the mixture of best ideas and styles will put forth many ways out of a single topic. It thus helps in better learning. 5. Better involvement of students. A dynamic discussion session will increase students' involvement and thus helps in bringing out the best in students. 6. Mental stimulation to students. Team teaching helps them question the theories and facts. When the students involved, it brings out the creativity and the habit of questioning things. 7. Breaks traditional lecture boredom. In lectures, students are often distracted, either chatting with their friends or checking their phones, or maybe jotting down notes. In all the mentioned cases, they are giving divided attention. An interactive session, debates, help of visual aids, and the likes evokes interest among students. Team teaching exactly does that. 8. Better bonding between student and teacher. The bonding is increased when teachers often ask questions and listen to what students have to say. People, when heard and appreciated, will ultimately be more engaged. 9. Provokes participation, interactions. A perfectly planned lecture will provoke even the most notorious and most aloof people to be engaged. Team teaching helps teachers deal with students of all personalities well and get better engagement. 10. Imparts the lesson of team management. Students get to see how teachers capitalize on each of their strengths, how they respect each other's ideas, and how, as a whole, they put the best picture forward. 11. Develops interpersonal skills and logic of students. Students' interaction and logic are improved drastically as they learn to question things and learn how to communicate their ideas effectively. 12. Teachers can give individual attention. In team teaching, if one teacher is speaking, the other one can solve the queries student raises without disturbing the whole class. Number 13. Staff development. Teachers also can get chance to brush up their skills, work up to their fullest potential, and along with that, their creativity, motivation, and team management skills get a solid boost too. 14. Long-term knowledge retention. With the dynamic and interactive sessions, students are engaged and they learn better. Knowledge retention is much higher than the traditional learning approach.
If we have advantages of team teaching, we also have some disadvantages. And these are the following. Number 1, acceptance of change by teachers. Team teaching can only be effective if teachers are willing and happy to be involved in the new form of teaching. A forced approach is bound to fail. Number 2, rigidity in teachers. Apart from accepting the change, teachers have the rigidity to accept and adjust with other teachers. While working in a team, we must accept others' ideas and drop ours. Teachers should not have an ego and should handle criticism openly. Number 3, bad team management. Internal cooperation and good team tempo are extremely important. Internal conflict may result in a complete failure. Number 4, personality conflict. People with contradicting personalities must devise a way to work together effectively. A dominating person will overpower the other people. 5, inability to complete curriculum. Even though creative teaching is necessary, it is also important for completing the course syllabus. This is one of the major challenges faced during team teaching. 6, time for coordination and planning. Teachers have to take out time from their busy schedules and sit together to devise the lecture flow and activities that have to be carried out. 7, hard to keep track. Teachers have shared responsibility and have an individual role to play. If any one of the teachers is absent for some reason, then the whole session will be jeopardized. 8, takes time to develop. Teachers will have to refer many books and talk to several veteran teachers for designing an effective teaching plan. 9, going overboard. A little stimulation to students' brains will bring the best in them. But if it gets too much, they will find it too hard to comprehend. 10, resistance from students. Some students like the basic lecture, and then they do their self-study to learn in deep about it. Teaching them everything that in detail and inculcating activity, debate, or different methods to teach the same topic may make them feel that their time is getting wasted. 11, the expectation of higher compensation. If we compare the efforts required for teaching solely with the efforts required to teach in a team, then the later one is undoubtedly much harder and would require deep study, time, and planning.
And we have here some tips to make team teaching effective. 1, the openness of mind. Teachers and students must be open to change and must embrace in this new form of learning.
2, an effective strategy is necessary which requires undivided attention and time, willingness to make the learning effective.
3, regular meetings and follow-up.
4, rotation of roles to enhance learning and reduce boredom.
5, an effective way to assess students' performance.
6, respecting others' ideas.
7, training to new teachers who are new to the concept of team teaching.
And that would be all for today. Let us end this session by leaving you this saying, alone we are smart.
Together, we are brilliant.
Thank you.
And God bless.